Coming up here on today's show, some ESPN analysts are actually really high on the 2026 Chicago Bears. I'm going to react to that, but first, I got to give the fellas a round of applause here. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are showing up and showing out, and we are destroying Joey Peterson and the Packers Report and new subscribers in the month of February. But let's not rest on our laurels. If you want to decimate the Green Bay Packers and keep the FGB theme going year-round, let's beat them in new subscribers this month. Free and daily Bears content. Make it a competition. Let's go. Sub for Bears dubs over the Packers, baby. Are we in rare territory where the Chicago Bears are getting good pub heading into the next season? Well, ESPN did an article recently where they had some of their top analysts and insiders basically give their thoughts on some different categories, like what's your Super Bowl prediction for next year? Who's your MVP pick? Give me a bold prediction, stuff like that. And three of their analysts / insiders had some pretty bold and positive takes on what the Bears / Caleb Williams could accomplish in 2026. So let's kind of present the information and I'll react as we go here. And let's just start with what would be the most exciting for all of us. Super Bowl Bears? Maybe. Matt Bowen, who is based out of Chicago and does some of their especially offseason analysis, had this to say. He said, Bears over Bills. This is his Super Bowl prediction for Super Bowl 61. Chicago needs to add pass rushers, but the foundational players are there on offense under Coach Ben Johnson. With quarterback Caleb Williams' playmaking ability, the Bears will beat Josh Allen and Joe Brady's Bills to win Super Bowl 61. I will say this. I do think you will see the Bears be a trendy Super Bowl pick by some analysts. I think it'll go both ways. Some will be really high on the Bears, and others will call them like next year's Commanders. Be like, oh, they're going to regress. They won a bunch of fluky games, yada, yada, yada. You're going to hear both of that, I think. And I will say this. Matt Bowen hits the nail on the head. If the Bears can add to their biggest need roster-wise, which is pass rushers, they need at least one, if not multiple, impactful players on their defensive line added to what they currently already have. I think this is a Super Bowl contender. You've got Montez Sweat, nice player. Austin Booker's ascending. I think Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter are solid-ish rotation guys. If you can add an edge and a defensive tackle and at least one of them hit really well and another one at least be solid, I think you got something. I think you're cooking. You at least got some good depth there. You're not going to be a top 5 pass rush unit in the league, but you're going to be better than 31st in pass rush win rate. If you could get a Trey Hendrickson or someone like that, slide Montez Sweat down a notch, Austin Booker, you really make his snaps count, then I think you're feeling a lot better about that edge group. And then if you could hit on a defensive tackle in the draft, then I think you're going to be set up in a good position defensive line-wise this upcoming season. Bowen's right as well. The offense, the core's in place. Everyone's ready to go. So left tackle is the only question mark you have offensively right now. Who is your top defensive line target for the Bears in any way you can acquire them? Trade, free agent, draft. If you could pick one defensive lineman to add to this football team that's at least somewhat potentially available, like don't say Will Anderson because he's not going to become available. Let me know who it is down in the comments section. Okay, Caleb Williams for MVP, question mark? Well, one of their insiders is predicting it. One of the sections was, hey, who's your way too early MVP prediction? Dan Graziano saying, quote, Caleb Williams. I see the arrow pointing up for Williams with Ben Johnson and a Bears team that arrived well ahead of schedule. Williams has that fourth quarter clutch gene. Even if the Bears fix their defense to where he doesn't need as many clutch performances, he should have plenty of opportunities to showcase his abilities in a tough NFC North. And yeah, kind of like the Super Bowl prediction, I do think you will see some trendy Caleb Williams will be an MVP finalist or could even win MVP. I think you'll see that that kind of littered throughout some analysis in the offseason. He certainly took a big jump this year. If he takes another notable jump in an offense that he's comfortable in with now, with a group of players that shouldn't really change much around him this offseason, he absolutely has MVP potential. There's no throw he can't make. He's mobile. He improved a ton just in terms of, hey, we need you to do quarterback things, not just freelance things all the time. In fact, at times it was almost like, hey, like, you could actually take off a little bit more here. I just think another year with Ben Johnson and this thing could really, really take off. And I frankly expect it to in 2026. More on that coming up, and more on Graziano's point of having a lot of opportunities to showcase what Caleb Williams could do to have a chance to win MVP. But got to tell you guys about our sponsor first. That is Ethos. Life insurance isn't a fun topic to talk about, but it's important, especially if you're like me and you have a wife and a child. Thinking about their livelihoods made it easier to discuss, and so I'm glad I found Ethos as my life insurance provider. I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happens to me, there are real consequences like mortgage payments, tuition, everyday bills. Those things don't just go away. Life can throw you curveballs, and it's best that you stay prepared. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Some of their policies are as low as $30 per month with Ethos, but you can also get up to $3 million in coverage with some of their policies as well. So check out Ethos today. Protect your family with life insurance with Ethos. Get your instant free quote at ethos.com/NFL daily. That is ethos.com/NFL daily. Application times and rates may vary. It's Ethos. Ethos.com/NFL daily. Okay, so Graziano also pointed out, like, hey, tough NFC North. Also, the schedule in general, there's going to be some big primetime matchups. Obviously, you got your divisional home games there. Your other home games, Jacksonville, 13 wins last year. New England, 14 wins last year. Even the Saints, arrow pointing up with Tyler Shuck. Jets should be a relative easy game, but Eagles is a big-time opponent. Buccaneers, we'll see if they can bounce back. And then on the road, divisional games again. You got Atlanta, the Bills. That'll be a juicy game. Carolina, Miami, and then the defending champion Seattle Seahawks. So I do think could be the opening game of the season. I think Thursday Night Football on NBC could very easily be Bears Seahawks in Seattle, because I'm telling you right now, the Bears are going to lean, or the NFL are going to lean into the Bears. They're going to put them in a lot of primetime slots. How many primetime games have the Bears been in over the years when we've sucked? Now that the Bears are good and exciting and play this fun brand of football, they have a star at quarterback on and off the field, they're going to lean into them quite a bit. They're going to be in primetime a lot. And so to Graziano's point, not only is Caleb Williams a talent capable of being in an MVP conversation, he's going to get to showcase it a lot in games where no other games are going on. So we'll see if he can improve enough and be in the conversation at the end of the year. How about any time in his career? Will Caleb Williams win an MVP in his career? Type Y for yes, type in for no. The talent's all there. We saw steps this year. Keep taking steps. You're going to have a chance to do it. And then more Caleb Williams love before we get out of here. Another ESPN analyst. This one, Field Yates, saying that, quote, Caleb Williams will become an All-Pro. This was the final prediction all of the panelists chimed in on this article. There was a ton of good in Williams' second pro season, but still so much room for growth. Williams' completion percentage will be the area that most point to, and I am bullish that number will improve dramatically next season. I agree. The Bears' offense should return mostly intact in 2026, and that familiarity will be instrumental in their franchise quarterback's development. And I think that last point is really key. Why should we be confident that more positive growth, even more year 2 to year 3 than year 1 to year 2 should take place? Well, I think the number one thing is same system. Last year, he had to learn a complicated offense. We've talked about this. Training camp, every day, it's like, couldn't break the huddle, pre-snap penalties. Of course, when you first get back, there's going to be some growing pains, but it's not going to be anywhere near what it was last year. Why? Also, because most of the players are going to be the same. 4 out of your starting 5 offensive linemen, and maybe if it's Theo Benedict, he knows the system, and he played a lot at left tackle last year. All of that is the same. So you're now building even more chemistry since you already know what the offense is. Of course, Ben's going to add new things, and it's going to continue to grow, but you know the basics of the offense. Fundamentals should improve. Caleb talked about it. I am hyper-focused on my footwork and accuracy, and now that he knows the system and what Ben wants, he can really lock in on those things, build the chemistry with his teammates by getting extra work in, and then just natural growth overall. He's a third-year NFL player. Regardless of all this other stuff, you still should be improving at this stage in your career because you're just getting more reps. You're getting more mental and physical reps. You've seen more things. You've seen, X amount of snaps from other defenses, right? It's like anything else in life. The more you do something, the more you should improve. Now, eventually, as an athlete, like, it goes down because you lose athleticism or arm strength or whatever the case may be. But we are a far way away from that. Like, you should be improving a lot. And most would say year 3 is when you should see maybe the biggest jump of your career. That's when a guy like Josh Allen took off. That's when a lot of players throughout the history of the league really started to make their mark. So I absolutely think, because of all those reasons, now, am I predicting here today the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl and Caleb Williams is going to win the MVP this year? That would be bold to say. Do I think it's impossible? No, I don't, because he's got the talent. They've got the coaching. If they add the proper pieces on defense, they should be in the mix. They were an overtime away from being in the NFC Championship this year to face the team that won the Super Bowl easily over the Patriots. They're not crazy far away, but at the same time, they can't rest on their laurels. They got to understand where their weaknesses are from a roster standpoint, and Caleb has to take the proper steps forward. Those things happen, they're a Super Bowl contender and potentially an MVP contender. And if your quarterback's an MVP contender and your defense is improved, you're going to win a shit ton of football games and potentially win a Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. A long way to go. Offseason hasn't even really gotten going yet, but it's not crazy, some of these predictions that are being made by these ESPN analysts. All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. You guys know where to find me on social media. Give me a follow at HGrahamNFL, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on Facebook as well. Search Harrison Graham Chat Sports on Facebook, or find the link below in your browser, facebook.com/HGrahamNFL. Posting content over there. Appreciate you guys very much. Bear down.